Hey guys, welcome back to another one of my more or less tutorial videos, or as I usually like to say, my garbage videos. Today I really wanted to go over mainly the jirens. As you can see on the screen, it's very popular. Everyone, like, I got a lot of requests to do it from people who were asking for help through my Discord link and people in the comment section, since it is like the only race that people play anymore. It is considered to be the most overpowered race in the game, and I see why people think that. It is a very powerful race. It boasts very high stats. It is a very enjoyable race to just play as, and everyone likes playing as this race. It's fun. I see why people want to play it. Personally, I just don't see the appeal. It's too much for me. I don't like the race. I think it's a bad race. But that's not to say I haven't played as this race before. I've gotten hate on this character on a jiren before. I've never gotten despair before, but I've definitely prestiged a jiren at least once, and I did. I did that to all the races in the entire game at least twice, except for this race. It's the only race I haven't done that with yet, and I don't really plan on doing it because I don't really like this race all that much. Now, I was thinking of making a jiren just to kind of play with despair to see how overpowered it is. But anyways, I really mainly wanted to go over the basics on how you would build a character like jiren. Now, I'm going to go over the meta build, and now by meta build I mean the grinding build. Now, as a jiren, it's a very versatile race, and it has its transformations that are very good, especially despair. Now, this race can be really useful in grinding because of its really good base stats. I would find it to be a second alternative to droids. Like, I find it to be that good for grinding. I genuinely think that you can carry with this character. So you would want to do the standard. You want to do either melee damage or key damage. I would people. I don't really know what to prefer now, but I'd probably say key damage because it's still pretty good for carrying. I've seen it like key carries, which are just basically where people spam supernovas and all that stuff. So you would want to put the majority of your stats into that. Now that's not just to say that you want to only do that stat because it is still a jiren race, and this race still has issues. Like issues in the fact that it has low key. So most people that play this race I see actually run out of key because they haven't built their characters properly because they're a grinding character and all they do is pure damage, which you should never. If you've seen my other tutorials, you know that you should never just do pure damage, because doing pure damage is a very bad way to make a character. It's not good, and you will suffer from it if you want to play PvP. If you want to just do grinding, then doing pure damage is not bad in any way, shape, or form, but I don't recommend you try to fight players with it. Yes, you'll deal a lot of damage, and yes, you'll kill people very quickly, but you will not be able to outlast the opponent, so you'll run out of ki before you actually can get anything done. So you'll just end up losing because you are not in the transformation, and you will now be no longer boast really high stats like jiren is usually able to do. Most jiren players that I see, they are extremely strong, all of them. Now, is it to say they're good? No, jiren is not a race that you should be scared of at all. This race is a big pushover. I find players that play this to be worse than most players, because, like I said, they only play it because they don't understand how to, or actually, no, I don't think I said that before, but most people play this race because they don't know how to play anything else. They just play this one character. The only thing that they know how to play is jirens because they are either not skilled enough to play human or not skilled enough to play Majin because they don't want to take the time and effort to build a really good character. But this race, I recommend it. It's definitely a really good race. If you are good at the game already, like say you play as a Saiyan and you know that you're good, I recommend you make a jiren. It's a very good race, and it can definitely boasts really high stats, and you can kick people's asses like nothing's happening. This race is the definition of cancer. I look at this race, and when I see a player trying to fight me with this character, I cringe. It genuinely it bothers me. It just bothers me the fact that most people that play this are just stupid idiots that don't know what they're doing. But anyways, now to the meta build. The meta build is it's the key resistance, or because despair, which is their final prestige 3 transformation, boasts a 400 key resistance stats instead of a 700 key resistance stat like it used to, therefore making it obsolete, and most people don't want to use it because they think it's bad. But that is terrible meta build because they'll do Q resistance and then they'll just do a damage stat. They won't even like put anything into key max, or they won't put anything into like melee damage, or like they won't even they don't evenly spread their stats, so they're always down in the core category. Yes, they're really strong against key moves, but what if happens if they go up against a melee player? Then all that key resistance you put in, it means nothing. It just doesn't want it won't get you anywhere. So you will be stuck at a crossroads where you can only fight one type of player. Now, like I said before, though, that this race does boast really high stats, so therefore you will get a lot of use out of it. So you will be able to fully capable of just sitting here and playing this race, and you wouldn't even put any stats in. You wouldn't have to. You could just boast a no stats, and you could actually sit here and kick people's asses like nothing's happening. Now, like I said, though, I do want to make another one of these guys just to see what it's like to use Despair. I might actually delete my Android on my other account, but I am currently on a second account right now because I'm still trying to debate that if I want to actually play this game again. But that is the meta build for this character. Do I recommend you do the meta build? Well, just it depends on how you do it. If you want to go for a tank build, then go right ahead. You can do the meta. It's a very good idea to do tank builds. If you can execute them correctly, and you're confident in your ability to fight players, and you are able to, deal enough damage to beat somebody, then go right ahead. I recommend you play this race, and you play it well. But then here goes my build. Now, my build is always consists of the same build, because I love this build, and it's the best possible PvP build in the entire game, because it's true. I really think that the health max and keep max build is the best possible build you can get out of a jiren race. It is so good. I have never seen any race in the game that would probably do it better than a jiren race. Now, maybe, of course, then you have Majins, which do it even better than jirens, but that's besides the point. See, Majins, they benefit from that, but so do jirens. But jirens have a average key max, so they don't have bad key max. It's really good. If a player knows what they're doing, they can use a jiren, they won't ever run out of key. So health max and key max will only complement the high key max that they already have. And the fact that they're boasting this really high stat, they're going to deal a lot of damage. They will be able to kick people's asses all the time, and they will never have an issue, and they will never run out of key. They will have they'll have high health, meaning that it makes them even harder to kill. So it makes them boast extremely powerful stats, and they are almost unkillable to that extent. They are just that powerful. Now, most people they don't wanna really make like builds like that because they're difficult. They're not easy to play. Like you aren't going to be able to run through Earth very fast. You're not going to be able to do Namek very quickly. But remember, jirens boast high. They boast really high base stats. They actually have two. They get one stat in all their stat categories every 2 levels. So they have the second best base form in the game. Of course, except for the part where you also have Namekians, but I don't count their base form as being better than a jirens because it is the same stat boost. Because when they prestige, they get minimal stats from it. So that's what I personally think. But most people, they wouldn't agree with me with this. I do tell people this kind of build all the time because I personally find it to be a fairly good build. I find it to be a very powerful one. But most people are always like, no, I don't want to do this build because I want to do the meta build. I want to have high damage. I want to be able to two-shot people. I don't know why. It's not a very good build, and I just overall just don't see a reason that you would want to do that. Now, can you get away with doing it? I don't know. Maybe you can. Maybe you can't. I haven't really seen very many good jiren players. I've seen one, and he's looped me. He did looping, and he boasted to be a really good fighter. And looping is not something you should really brag about, but yeah, let's see, this is why I don't like this race. It's just because everyone that I know that I've ever seen play it is just a toxic asshole who thinks that they're better than everybody because they have 2,000 key damage because they have 700 stat form in really good base form. Don't boast about it. It's not something you boast about. Try to at least be respectable. Just try to be a nice guy about things. I know I shouldn't be the guy that is trying to preach this because I practice what you preach. Am I right? I don't do this. I'm a pretty big asshole. A lot of people don't like me, but I know why. But I personally don't care what people think of me. Doesn't matter to me. Jiren is considered to be the best PvP race in the game. Would I consider that to be true? No, not even close. I would not say the jiren race is anywhere near the best PvP race in the game. Not a day in my life would I ever say that. because you have Majins, you have androids, you have humans, you have Friezas. Like they all are very good in PvP. They are androids because they can heal themselves very well. They can absorb. They are very powerful. Humans, well, I wouldn't say humans are very good in PvP, but they're not bad in PvP if you know what you're doing. Majins because they have unstable and they're very tanky. Android, I already said androids. Yeah, that's right. Freezes because they're really, really good key max and they have a very, very high key damage stat, so they're overall really good. So most people want to say that this one race is better than every other race. It's not true. There is no bad races and there's no good races. It's always just the in between. But like I already said, I am not biased to this race. So as you can tell, I'm really sidetracked on it, and I don't care for this race whatsoever. And the build that I gave you is a genuine build, and if you want to use it, go right ahead. But I won't be going really in depth with it because I don't like this race, and I find it to be a very boring race. Like I said though, I will try to play it more. Maybe I can get a soft spot for it, and I can redo this video. But I don't feel like doing it again because I just don't really care for too much for this race. Everyone plays it. It's very overpowered, just like Namekian, except Namekians are more manageable than Jirens are, because the Jirens have super high stats, and that's more than enough of a reason that why you should play them. How you build them doesn't even matter. You could do a speed build, and you would and you would still be very strong. You wouldn't need to do anything else. Just do a speed build. You'll be fine. That's basically what you can do with this character, and you would never have repercussions about it. But most players, what they like to do is that they will play this race thinking that they can just simply enough rely on those high stats, when it's not true. You should, like I always tell people, that you should always try to play Saiyan as your first race, because Saiyan as a first race is a very good first race because it's very balanced, and it teaches you the fundamentals of trying not to get in your base form and trying to stay in your transformation as much as possible without running out of ki. And it gives you good discipline, and it will teach you how to do it. And if you can play Saiyan really well, then you can play Jirens pretty well. I really recommend it. So if you always want to start out, I don't recommend playing Majins, I don't recommend playing Jirens, I don't recommend playing humans, because they're hard races to play. Now Jirens are not hard to play, like I already said this, so that they are very overpowered, and you can go ahead and play them with no repercussion, but it won't teach you anything about fighting, so you will be very bad at this game. You will. The Jiren race will turn you into a pleb, and it will make you bad, and you will regret it. Do I blame people for playing this race? No, I don't, not at all. It's just that this race makes a terrible name for itself, because I always see people wearing like Jiren, or not Jiren, but I'll see them wearing like Broly clothes, like the new Broly clothes with tattoos on their arms or some shit, and it's really gross and cringy, and it just makes me want to commit suicide because of the name that they're giving Jiren. Because Jiren is a very powerful character in the TV show. He's actually stronger than Broly, for if you didn't know that, because, you know, Gogeta, I wouldn't say Gogeta is stronger than Master UI Goku, because that doesn't really make much sense to me. But overall, if you can, I do recommend that you try to play this race. Make one right now if you're watching this, but just do it. You won't have to have an issue with it. There's really no bad or good builds you can do with this, but I do recommend that you do the health max and key max build, since it'll complement your high key max and it'll give you a lot of health, making you very tanky. And since you boast really good base stats and you boast very good transformations, you will be able to wipe the floor with the competition and never have an issue. Anyways, that's my video. If you guys didn't like this video, I recommend you leave a dislike. If you're new to my channel, I recommend you go check out my other videos on my other guide builds, and I recommend, they're not bad, by the way, they're not as trashy as this one is. I know this one is bad, and I know I'm gonna probably never get views on this one, but that's just my viewpoints on Jirens. I don't find them to be fun race, and I don't recommend that you play them as a first race if you are brand new to this game. If you were looking for a proper build for a Majin or a human, I have those on my channel. Go check them out. I do recommend you do. They go just as in depth as I go for them. They go for very in depth on how you play them properly. If you did dislike this video, leave a dislike. And if you really hated this video, comment down below that I'm a gay retard and I should play this game again. Go right ahead. Anyways, have a good day, guys.